Welcome into the Train with the Best podcast. I'm Craig Hoffman.
Chris Gorres.
And with us here in the Airbnb in Phoenix, Arizona, in Paradise Valley to be.
Scottsdale. I think we're technically like on the borderline of Phoenix and Scottsdale.
Somewhere in Arizona, close to EXOS. It's Nick Symmonds.
Hey, glad to be back with you guys.
And so here's the deal for this here podcast. We are, as I said, it is Wednesday, February 16th at 10:17 Mountain Time right now. Before we and Nick head over to EXOS to record the YouTube video, which is now live on Nick's channel as you're hearing this on March 1st or later. And Nick is going to take on Lorenzo, as we previously announced, in all 6 of the NFL Combine events. So this is our actual like pre-event analysis, predictions, hopes, dreams.
This is me just sitting in an apartment nervous. You guys. I flew all the way down here to give it my best, but you know, as an Olympic runner, I didn't do any of these events.
Right.
I want to represent runners well and hopefully win one event. That's my goal.
That's the goal. So later in the podcast, we're all going to be back. And we might be doing this in person. We might be doing this in Zoom. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. It's later. And we're going to recap. So if you want, and you're listening now, you can just hit pause in the middle of this podcast. Go watch the video if you haven't yet. And then you'll hear our reaction on the other side.
They should listen to our predictions first, though.
Yeah, I think so. Well, if they're already here, then they should do that. Hopefully, maybe some people were watching the video and we told them to do that on the video. And now they're here. So welcome to the podcast. Subscribe. So what is our, Nick, I'll start with you. Okay. The goal is to win one event. What larger picture? What are you trying to just be close in certain things? Is there one thing that you're like, man, if I'm not at least close in that one, I'm gonna be really disappointed? What's success for you today?
I want to beat him in one event. He's trained for these events. He's done this before. I have never done any of these events before. So I think that's going to be what I'm just excited to try something new and be pushed. I have to beat him in one. I know he's competitive. I'm equally competitive. We're going to start with bench because I already conceded. 225, if I can cycle 225 twice, that'll be a huge win for me. Again, distance runner, never benched. I think I can hit 225 for a couple reps.
That's really impressive for somebody who's been a distance runner his whole life. For you to lift 225, I don't think people have the right appreciation for how much weight that actually is.
Yeah.
And for those guys who are out there who say, oh, 225 is light. Okay, but running 800 and under 2.
You see a lineman cycling 225 and you're like, it's nothing.
It's nothing.
Put him into 800, all right?
Put him into 800. He's probably going to run that in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And literally take a knee in between laps.
And what's so cool about professional sports, though, is we're so hyper specialized.
Exactly.
My channel, I call it Fun with Fitness. It's just trying new stuff. If you asked me to go train for an 800, I'd be like, guys, there's not enough money in the world. I will never do that again. I did that.
Right.
But I love trying these different fitness challenges. And really seeing somebody like Lorenzo, a specialist, is going to be, for me, just, even if I don't beat him in one event, it'll be an absolute pleasure to watch him just destroy me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. You say, they'll go out there and run an 800 in 4 minutes. That's even not slow. Maybe for 1/800, right?
That would still be good running.
That's 8-minute pace for a mile, for a half mile.
Which is, a lot of people, that's a great mile.
Right. 100%.
And when you're moving 300 plus pounds, that's how.
Yeah. So take the distance runner and put a 150-pound weight vest on him and see what happens.
Right. And just for reference, you're still 5th fastest American ever in the 800.
Yeah,
or someone bumped you down to 6th.
These kids keep running so fast, they're bumping me. But when I ran it in the 2012 games, 142.95 was the 3rd fastest ever by an American.
Right. So
wrap your head around that. 142. I mean, that is
for a half mile.
Flying.
Yeah.
So those who don't know the half mile that maybe know the mile better, my best is 3:56. Right. So I was able to get under 4, and I ran professionally for 12 years. I raced at 160 pounds. I weigh about 185 now. So I have been actively working to become a better, more well-rounded athlete.
Right.
I do CrossFit in the mornings. I powerlift in the afternoons. I still run. I still cycle. I think Lorenzo and I are the exact same age.
So you guys are both 30.
We're both removed from our pro sports. We both love competition, love to stay fit.
The funny thing is he does all the same things, because in the off season we would get away from the daily grind of lifting heavy weights and stuff, and that's just part of who he is. But he loves to doing the cycling. He doesn't swim as much because he's not a great swimmer, but this is a guy that would put on the Ride to Provide every year, and he was proud of himself for being able to ride 60 miles.
He's way down from playing weight, right?
Yeah, so he's right about where he was when he finished his career. So Zoe actually started his career as a defensive lineman at 300 pounds plus.
Yeah.
Finished his career at 235 as an outside linebacker, which is unheard of in the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be a fun day. Yeah. I know how competitive Zoe is. I know how competitive you are, and just to watch you guys compete, take you guys outside of your comfort zone, it's going to be fun to watch.
This will be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do the commentary for it. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth, which is always exciting. What event? And we talked about this a little bit when we made the announcement. Like, what event do you think you have your best chance in?
I mean, as the runner, I'm going to say the 40, but I know he can move really fast, can he? And my weakness was getting off the line. Like, I'm not quick off the line, but I have to think the 40, maybe I have a chance.
So I think 40, I'm not going to say it's a good chance, but 40 is definitely your best chance because there's 0% chance that you're going to beat him bench. And that's just
right. I understand
that's just so we're going to get that out of the way. But yeah, I think that 40, and we were looking at it today. I think we were actually going to do it on the track.
Yeah.
That puts you on your home turf because you know what it's like to be on the track. Yeah, and I don't know that Zoe has cranked up the engine lately. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that is going to be your best chance to win and take an event today.
So like when you did your East Coast swing, because I think that's the last time, at least on YouTube,
when I was really turning over,
right? Like when you were like, all right, I might have to run some hundreds here, right? What was the fastest 100 you ran during that?
I mean, I'm good for 12 low, you know, on a spiked up. The biggest thing for me at my age is getting warmed up properly.
Yes.
Like, because I'm not, you know, if I do a proper 45-minute warm up like I used to as a pro, I can turn over still. But, you know, 38 cold old legs, they don't snap as fast as they used to.
Let me pull up the schedule real quick.
You know what?
I don't see a warm up on the schedule. This is going to be problematic.
That's why we saved it for last. So hopefully I'm like good to go. And hopefully he's a little tired. You know, like I'm a distance guy. I should get better as we go through these events. Hopefully he gets a little tired.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see. But it's all that adrenaline base. Like everything is 5 seconds or less. Like
That's not
maybe
my
6
specialty.
seconds, right? Like I mean,
especially stopping and changing directions.
The one event that's going to be longer than about 7 seconds is Lorenzo's bench.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the longest event is Lorenzo benching.
We'll start with that one. That'll be a really fun way to start.
Now, Zoe's obviously not here. Chris, what do you think Zoe's going to bench? Like how many reps is 225?
It depends on how interested he is in pushing himself, but 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere.
I once benched with Lorenzo like at his house in his old home gym up in Virginia before he moved down here, and it was one of the most demoralizing things.
Yeah.
Are
there scoring tables for this, like a decathlon, or is it just like A+?
No, but here's the thing you don't know about him.
Yeah.
This dude is like math savant. So if you gave him like factors of this and that, he could keep score in his head, and it'd be.
Yeah, it's not like that. And I think we talked about this a little bit in the last podcast that we did with you, Nick, and you were like, should I save myself for this event? And it's not like a decathlon that ends with a 15, right? Yeah. Where you like, all right, let me just save myself for the 15. Yeah. Every event is all out. You do the best that you can.
I love that about it, though. Yeah. Like, I want to just beat myself up for 6 straight events. And then here's what I'll ask from you, Coach. At the end of it, I want you to give me your true analysis of what are my chances of getting drafted. It has to be better than 0, but I know it's not going to be 100. But what are my chances, and what would be my best position? And don't say water boy.
Oh well, all right. I'll give you a good analysis.
Okay,
we'll take a look at how you stop and change directions.
Yeah,
you know, we're not going to do any of the football drills today, so that would tell me a little bit too, right? Like how well can you track a football and all those things.
So here's a question that'll help determine that. This is now the interview portion of the combine.
Okay, let's do it.
What is going to make you run faster? Chasing someone or getting chased?
Always chasing somebody. Like if anyone who watched me race for 12 plus years, I'm what's called a sit and kicker. Mm-hmm. I key off whoever's in front of me. I sit on their shoulder. I'm listening to their breathing. I'm listening to their panicking, hopefully. And if I could stay close to them and get within 100 yards of the finish line, we used to say if I could smell blood in the water, by far the thing I loved most was just to look over and then just blow their doors off. And that was my specialty, changing gears. But I couldn't lead from the gun. I couldn't run scared, is how we call it if you're going wire to wire.
Right.
I had to be keying off of somebody.
So he's a defender.
Really?
For sure.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean the defenders are the ones that run towards contact and they chase people. The people who are on offense are typically the guys that like running away from people. That was me. I like running away.
That was him.
What was your position?
I was a wide receiver.
Okay.
Right. So I was a 4.5 guy, 4.6 guy on the laser, but when you got me the ball, I would consistently run away from 4.3 guys because I'm just faster when I'm being chased, right? This is something I've always admired about track athletes. Like you have this self 1, self 2, where you have all the technical stuff down, but you also still run like a freaking animal.
Yeah,
that's pretty special to be able to do. And for me, it's like I'm so much faster in cleats on a field being chased than I am if you put me on a track with a stopwatch. Yeah, right. So that was me, and
there's
I was
also like just the changing gear factor. Like some of the guys that are the fastest people on planet Earth, they can't change gears. And what I mean by that, like when you're playing football, you're already moving, and then you catch that ball, and you got to move even faster.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's just some guys that can't do that. I don't have the best top end speed, certainly not. But when I came off the corner, I could switch gears faster. Like I can go from 1, 2, 3, 4 faster than anybody, even though my 4 isn't faster than most people's 4.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
So that half a second makes a big difference.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And that's like, I think an underrated part of track and field is that, especially track, is like that decision making. That's something I learned working with Sam. My buddy was an 800 runner at Bridgewater College, D3 level. Yeah. Really, I think he still holds the conference record in the 800 and the ODAC. And he would talk to me a lot about race strategy, where like I think the average person watching a track event is like, oh, they just go out there and run as fast as they can. But that's not how it works. Like, and everything basically longer than 100, which is like straight line, go. Like there's a strategy to when you do that gear change, which is obviously not necessarily as complex as the decisions you're making on a football field. Yeah. But there is a decision-making element to the sport, and the faster you can make decisions and the cleaner and better your reads,
especially
the
in
more
the
successful you're going to be.
The 8 is the fastest event where you break from lanes, and you're getting elbows, you're getting kicked. When someone makes a move, if you're boxed in, it's over for you. So there's jockeying for position. I had a super love-hate relationship with it because I lost races that I should have won because I was out of position, but I also won races that I shouldn't have won because I was tactically, in the right place. Veterans tend to win 800 more often than not because they've seen so many different, races play out. They know where they need to be. They know when they need to make a move. So it's a chess game.
You definitely be on the defensive side of the ball.
I never thought that, but I kind of like the idea of it.
Because again, like so much of playing defense is knowing where to be and when to be there.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody that knows how to read a person and their breathe rate, right? Like then you can learn how to read offenses and know, okay, from this formation, these are the threatening things, right? It's not like you said, like you don't just race wire to wire, run scared. Yeah. On defense, you eliminate certain plays and say, all right, if they're able to hit this whole shot, cool, good for them. Is there like
a special teams position where you just kind of stand in the corner and smile?
Absolutely,
I can do that.
You could be an arrow, and you know what?
What is it called?
It's an arrow. So Lorenzo was an arrow, and that's how he made a name for himself in the league before he was a position player. So an arrow is just a guy that makes a play. You really don't have a responsibility. So on punt or on kickoff, everybody used to go down and you have your lanes. Everybody takes the lane and they've got responsibility for that lane, and you stay in your lane no matter what. But then you have 2 arrows coming from either side.
Interesting.
And those arrows are their job is to make a play. Their job is to spill the play, shoot your shot, right? Like you said, like you wait for about 100 yards and then you shoot your shot. Yeah. There, they play it really safe. They don't play it safe, but they wait for the right opportunity to shoot their shot, and then they make a spill. Then you go and you try to smash it. You try to blow everything up. That's cool. He was really good at that. There's some highlights that we watched last night where he's
shifty, fast, big, explosive.
Shifty, fast, and then you got to know when to shoot your shot. Because, again, in the league,
you only get one chance at it.
That's it. If you shoot your shot too early,
you're coming downhill, like full body weight into a guy. Like, you're launching it at the dude to make the tackle. Yeah. So it's if you miss, you're flying by him. And
how crazy
But you know what? Like, you're supposed to miss.
Not to get distracted, but you guys have so much football knowledge, and I have so little. How crazy are punt returners? Are they ex-running backs, or like what makes a good punt returner?
No, typically a punt returner is going to be a defensive back or a wide receiver, because the first thing is you have to catch the ball.
Right.
So you have to have good hands. You have to have good hands, right?
About that.
Second, you have to have a little bit of guts, because you're looking at this ball hanging in the air for 4.5, 5 seconds, and
guys
everybody's
just coming to try to kill you.
Yes.
Right. You have to have a sense of timing. You have to have good peripheral vision. Yeah. You have to be able to locate the ball and track it quickly, because you do at some point, especially on a higher hang time punt, like you have to drop your head and kind of
You got to make a pretty split second decision. precision.
Right, which is why like you have to know also, you have to have an innate sense of timing where you're in your head like contact 1, 2, 3. This ball's not coming down in less than 4 seconds. I need to fair catch it. Otherwise, I'm going to die.
Those are some of the hardest hits, though. When like
for sure. And
Lorenzo
100%. Delivered some of them.
Lorenzo was
it. There's a lot. We'll have to pull up some Zoe highlights. For him after we get done recording.
Yeah, we'll pull some up. But yeah, punt return was. I loved it. I love being on punt return because it's like if I can make one guy miss and it's off to the races. Yeah. So I loved it.
Well, also the best. I mean, some of the best highlights ever. And like that doesn't watch a lot of football, but I will watch punt return highlights all day long.
It's so much fun
because they're just. It's like true. They're out there on a battlefield about to be completely obliterated.
Right. Yeah.
And they're just. Somehow weave their way through that
you
traffic.
Make that arrow or the gunner on team miss. Like you make that first guy miss, and everyone else theoretically should be accounted for. Like there's only so many blockers, there's only so many guys coming down.
That's right.
And then there's going to be like 1 or 2 guys free, depending on how you blocked it up, that are trying to make that tackle. Everyone else's job, like on the team that's trying to tackle them on the punting team, is to eat up the blockers.
Yeah.
Well, if one of those 2 guys misses, now you're off to the races.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And I think
such good athletes. I mean, it's incredible. We always joked about why America wasn't more competitive, on track and field. Like we should be dominating everything. It's because of a lot of our best athletes. They go where the money is in MLB, NBA, NFL. If we were, a European country without those leagues,
we always say
they would be playing soccer. So
yeah, that's true too. But like think about a quarterback and their arm. That's a gold medal javelin thrower right there, 100%.
You think so?
Oh,
more than like a pitcher, you would say in baseball.
Actually, this is interesting.
Or center fielder.
The most direct, so the best translation from like let's call it a mainstream sport to javelin. You'll never guess.
From mainstream sport to javelin,
you'll never guess the absolute best javelin throwers. Where do they come from?
Volleyball.
Yes, dude, he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
volleyball. A female like spiker.
Absolutely.
That is almost exactly the same whipping motion that a javelin thrower has. So Rachel Yurkovich is a good friend of mine. She goes, maiden name Yurkovich. Rachel Bukacharski was on the 2012 Olympic team with me as a javelin thrower. She was recruited to Oregon as a volleyball player.
Yep.
And then decided she wanted to go out for the javelin and is becoming an Olympian.
That volleyball spike, I've been around it enough to know like how violent that volleyball spike is.
The exact same motion.
Yeah, me too. I work in a PT clinic where I have a bunch of former volleyball players coming in to get their shoulders
and elbows jacked up, right?
Yeah.
So I believe it. Javelin from volleyball for sure. I always like to play this game. Like, what would LeBron James look like as a volleyball player? Like, oh my god, or a handball. Like when I go to Europe and I'm watching TV, they've got like handball.
It is fun to watch some of the guys that come up, through football and basketball.
Yeah,
and like a tight end and a really good basketball player can like translate. Who's the guy that played for Seattle? Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was recruited to play basketball and actually played basketball for Miami, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
And then ended up going on to be one of the greatest tight ends.
Same thing with Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez. Like there's multiple Hall of Fame.
If you got the stats and the good hands, like you can go where you want to, I guess.
Football is one of those sports that's like it's not that refined of a skill set.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas other sports, basketball, baseball for sure, volleyball, that's such a refined skill set, whereas the skill sets in football are very, very raw. So if you're just a great athlete,
you're gonna do well.
You can pick it up late and do well.
Honestly, the hardest part about football is speaking the language and making the decisions. Like
you still have to make split-second decisions.
I think the hardest thing about football is like the hardest thing watching snowboarders right now. Like they have the guts to be 50 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Right. The hardest thing about football is you see a full-grown man running at full speed at you, and you're supposed to try to run through that. That's the hardest thing about football. That moment right there, because there's no running away from that moment.
You either have that or you don't. Like that.
Yeah, you either have that or you don't.
Yeah.
You can't be like, hey, here's the technique, because at some point, like, all right, there's no technique. You got to meet that person right there.
Yeah.
And
if not, go out for the cross country team like I did.
Right. But like I remember distinctly, a couple years ago, the debates. I mean, it's still going on now. Like all the analytics of should you go it on 4th down, this, that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it said on 4th and 1, and it says that at 72% of the time you're going to get it. So why wouldn't you just go for it? And I was actually Sean McVay used to work in Washington. Of course, just won the Super Bowl with the Rams, and Sean would be like, "Yeah, I mean that sounds great in theory, but what if your left guard's hurt and you know, you're facing Aaron Donald, the most that you're on the wrong side of the 72%. So like there is that like for every great play that you have, it can be ruined by your guy's ass getting kicked by the guy in front of
you.
You
still got to look at the chess pieces you have on the board.
So it is. I loved the chess game in football. I loved learning the route concepts, the kind of the language, and like how this play set up that play. But it can all get ruined by, you know, one dominant guy just whipping the ass of the guy in front of him.
Yeah.
Some teams have that X factor player too, where you're like, we just don't know how to handle that.
100%. And when you have to try to,
sounds like Lorenzo was a bit of that.
He was a little bit of that for sure. And when you have a guy like that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, your whole offensive game plan changes because it's like we can't run the plays that we want to run because we're not going to have a chance to.
I mean, that was the Super Bowl, right?
That
like
was
the
Bengals Super Bowl,
at the end tried to do some stuff like all game long. They're like, let's double Aaron Donald. And then at the end, they're like, all right, we're going to try to run one of our best plays. And you don't double Aaron Donald, and he gets the game-sealing sack.
The funny thing is, they did double him, and the guy that left guard had outside responsibilities, and still got beat. Like that's just, again, like when you're going up against a guy who is a monster. That's the X factor. Yeah,
incredible.
How you feeling about? All right, we're 20 minutes in. How you feel about the monster you've got to face today?
You're literally slaying a dragon today.
I feel like you feel worse after we just talked about how great football players are. Your whole body language is like, this is gonna suck.
I just know I'm gonna get my butt kicked. Well, I don't want to go in with a defeatist attitude.
No,
I'm gonna say this.
We gotta hype Nick up. Let's go, Coach.
I'm making a full proclamation right here. I will beat him in at least one event. All right,
let's do it.
I'm saying it. It's happening. I'm gonna manifest it out there on the field. Might be able to get 2.
Whoa!
Might be able to get 2. And if I get 3, if we go 50-50, then you know what the tiebreaker is? The interview portion. So I want you guys to have a good interview question, because if by some miracle it's 50-50 after 6 events, I win 3, he wins 3, we'll decide it in the interview portion.
Wow.
Okay. I feel like that's on me.
I'll be ready. That's on you.
I'll be ready.
Grad.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal.
I gotta get warmed up, guys.
We gotta
you gotta start warming up.
It's 10:38.
3 hours before.
We start at 1 o'clock. Hey, for the NFL, I feel like that's when they do start warming up.
They do.
Some light jogging around. Let's just go play catch a little bit. Get some more intense as we get.
I'm just gonna stand in the hot shower for like 2 hours. Just like, what did I get myself into?
Hot shower, recovery boots, Theraguns, or whatever.
So if you're listening to this on our game plan, where you're going preview, pause, watch video, come back for post-game reaction.
Now's the time to pause.
Now's the time to pause. Make sure
link in the show notes.
Yeah.
And we're gonna I've got 2 great videographer and editors. We are gonna make this one really compelling, guys.
I'm so excited for this.
Did you tell them you're live commentating it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are. So you'll get more of us. You'll get us on the commentary, me on the play-by-play, Chris on the analysis. You guys are all going to be mic'd up, as will Natalie, who's going to be coaching you. You got your free coaching from Chris. You got your coaching in from the one and only Natalie Kollars. By the way, you want to tell them about our workout this morning? Should we save that for off the?
We'll save that
podcast?
for off. Yeah.
But we got our butts kicked pretty good this morning.
It's
a good time. But let's get going. We're gonna head over to EXOS. Check out the video on Nick's YouTube channel. Again, the link is in the show notes. And then come back and listen to the post game reaction here on the pod. The Train with the Best podcast is brought to you by Super Coffee. Super Coffee is my favorite way to start every single day for one simple reason. It's simple. I simply grab my favorite flavor, and I always try to order a couple at a time. I'm pretty ADD. I need some variety in my life. But whether it's a seasonal flavor like the white chocolate peppermint or one of the classics, coconut mocha, French vanilla, sweet cream, regular mocha, regular vanilla, caramel, they're all delicious. Just pick one up, and I know that my day is going to be off to a great start. Why? Because I'm going to get high-quality premium coffee with the caffeine kick that I want and that everybody wants from coffee. But I'm also going to get an extra 10 grams of protein. I'm going to get some MCTs from coconut oil, and I'm getting 0 sugar. So once my day started, I don't have to worry about crashing midway through when all of a sudden all the sugar hits. And the best part about Super Coffee, at least if you're a listener to this podcast, is you get a nice, pretty discount on it. All you need to do is go to drinksupercoffee.com and use the code TRAINWITHTHEBEST, and you get 25% off your first order. Again, that's TRAINWITHTHEBEST at drinksupercoffee.com. Go get you some amazing, high-quality coffee and get your day started right. All right, rolling on here on the Train with the Best podcast, part 2. It's now 6:22 Mountain Time,
right.
Wednesday, February 16th.
The magic of podcasting, right?
We are teleporting, time traveling through the ads, and here we are. Nick is back with us, and also joining us is Natalie, who coached, and of course, everyone in our audience knows Nat from being on the pod. She was one of our guest hosts just about a month ago. Has been on before as well. So the deed is done. We made the video. You competed against Lorenzo. And before we even tell people how it went, so they've hopefully listened to our preview, hit pause, went and watched the video on your channel.
Thanks
on YouTube.
for subscribing.
That's right. And subscribe. If you forgot to subscribe, just keep listening, scroll over to YouTube, hit subscribe. Yep. How do you feel like you did? Let's get the emotional barometer before we give the results.
Before we even talk about emotions, I'm in so much physical pain. I was joking. I literally, if you added up every single second that I competed, it was less than 60 seconds, and I'm in so much pain. Yeah. How is that possible? One. Yeah. And then 2, the emotional damage that's been done. Fortunately, by now, if you guys did check out my channel, I love this fish out of water experience. Yeah. I want to be challenged in different ways. Like running around a track is not challenging for me. I don't find it that fun anymore. Right. I'll do it because I love my community, but I love nothing more than to be pushed in weird, different ways. Right. And today I was really, really pushed in some uncomfortable ways. And then to watch a specimen like Lorenzo show us how it was done. That was so cool. And also shout out to Coach Natalie.
So good.
I want to say I improved in every single event after being coached properly.
I think that was what I learned the most today is Natalie is a freaking amazing coach.
The best.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you all. Yeah, it was so fun.
I didn't learn that just because I knew it.
Well, I did want to ask you, so you had met Lorenzo today. So when he
I met him today.
Right. So when he gets out of the car and you finally see your competition, what's going through your mind? I
had the privilege of being one of Jimmy Radcliffe's, one of the best strength trainers in the world. He was the head strength trainer for University of Oregon for 25 years. He was my strength training coach, and so I lifted alongside some really incredible athletes. I used to lift with Marcus Mariota. The list goes on and on. So I know what these athletes are like. They're built different, right? I mean, 6+, 200+.
Right.
So I kind of had an idea what I'd be going against. What I was most impressed by Lorenzo, I knew, come on, he's what, 2-time Pro Bowler. He's going to be a specimen. How well he has maintained his athleticism, being retired for 2 years. Because so many people, myself included, you hang up your spikes or your cleats, and it goes downhill real fast.
Right.
Yeah. I got real soft and real just not in any kind of shape when I retired. And I didn't know how to be in shape if I wasn't training for pro running. He has done an incredible job of maintaining an athleticism, 2-3 years removed that he hasn't lost much.
Yeah, he hasn't lost much.
I was going to say, that's the crazy thing about Zoe is you say you didn't know how to train not for pro running. In some ways, Zoe doesn't know how to train not for football. He still trains.
He says he still does a lot of that.
He still does so much of that stuff. I mean, Chris still programs for him.
Yeah, more for the show. Similar to me, right? I stay in shape just enough to be able to give good demos and show one rep, right? That's where I'm at. That's where
Chris is officially in coaching shape.
So exactly. So Zoe's now talking about hey, I got to stay in coaching shape because I gotta at least look legit. Yeah, I gotta play the part, right?
I joked with him. I'm like, dude, you played 13. Am I right? 13 seasons.
Yeah, 13 seasons.
14 seasons. I'm like, dude, you played 14 seasons. I think you've proved it, right? But you still gotta walk the walk and talk the talk. But the thing is about him is he came the opposite way. So he was the doughboy coming into the league. He was 300, and then for the people who listen to the show, they know that he quit drinking. He got that out of his life. He started eating right, and he made the decision to lose weight and change his whole body type. So now that he's down to 230, he's he'll hit me up every month, Chris, send me a new program. I'm not going back to who I used to be. Yeah. So it's for him, that journey is only just starting. He likes his life. He likes fitting into skinny jeans and telling me that he's a medium t-shirt. So
he's not a medium t-shirt.
He is not. Absolutely not. We'll always ask him hey, what size shirt you wear? And he'd be like, yeah, I'm a medium. No, bro.
I'm a medium.
I'm a medium. You are 10 times bigger than me. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just his journey. So he's always going to be like that.
I think the chip on his shoulder too, from the nature of his career, right? He started as a lineman. He played D-line, then O-line, then back to D-line, and all the way down. But he was a fringe player who made it on special teams. Like he was a lot of his career, you know, you go into training camp. I mean, obviously he got to a point he was so good on special teams. He was making Pro Bowls and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like he was going to get cut. But the first part of his career was like that, where he's like, am I even going to make this team? And then he goes to making the Pro Bowl as like a defensive player, which is the reverse path that a lot of guys take. You start at your position, maybe you're playing some special teams, and then eventually you fade out until you're out of the league. And he kind of went the opposite. Like it was his decision to retire. He could have kept playing for sure. And the Bills would have loved to have him back. So I think that nature of like, you see his competitiveness and that level too.
Awesome. He shows up and he's actually doing like proper warm up for each event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome. Like he really wanted to like put some marks up, and I just respect that.
Yeah, for sure. I could see it because I know Zoe so well. So like when he got out of the car, you could see like he was in game time.
He had like game
he's getting
face
on. He's like looking for bands and stuff to warm up.
And then he got like, less and less serious as it went on, and he realized that I'm not that great of an athlete.
And then he realized, I think it was like at bench, and he was like, we asked him, Zoe, are you gonna warm up? He was like, nah. So
he got bored.
So you could see like he started to take it more and more seriously, because the way that we did the events was to give you the worst events out of the way.
The best
first,
chance as we went along.
Right, and that's exactly
and
how it went.
Closer and closer
and closer, and all the way up to the photo finish. Literally,
Shout out to us for the order of events.
Yeah, you guys did a good job on that.
Yeah, and it was cool. Just doing the bench press, just to kind of show the difference in the athlete type that we're dealing with here, right? Like. We're not. He's not going to compete with you anywhere close in a 400. Definitely not in an 800.
Well, the funny thing is, before this, we were talking about how cool would it be to do a follow-up video. Like, okay, he kicked my butt on his turf. Let's go to my turf, the track, and we talked about where we thought we'd meet up, and we'd all said maybe 300 meters.
Right.
I think I can get him at 100.
We're going to find out.
We're going
to find out tomorrow. I never ever thought I would get him at 100, but after that 40. I just think that I can maintain that pace a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think so too.
He'll get off the line faster. He'll beat me to 40.
Right.
And he even agreed on that.
I'll reel him in.
He was like, I think you might get me.
I'll reel him in.
The spoiler alert, of course, everyone should have watched the video and subscribed to the channel by now. But like, Nick did not win an event. So the under came in. We hit the zero, but it was so close. Like that 40, I mean, you finished 507 your last one, and then Zoe's best time was 499. Like, that's a 10th. Like, that's
that's
the
close.
first
attempt, so we'll recap. It was 499, and then you were at 513. So we're literally talking about 140 milliseconds.
I think I needed like 0.15 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And we got some on our start. Like, Coach Natalie got me to finally do a decent 3-point start.
Not
I shaved. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm a track guy. I was like, where are my starting blocks? But, you know, I was able to shave some time. And then I think even more interesting to me, because we're so focused on starting time as track and field athletes. Like they actually measure your reaction time. The blocks measure your reaction time, and they'll put that up on the screen because that's how important it is to us. And we were doing hand time starts. So when you introduce that wild card, it brought us to almost within 100th of a second of each other. Right. That'll be really critical in the 100 tomorrow. Yeah. Tell them the spoiler alert. Hit them with it.
I was say we're doing the 100 meters.
Yeah, we're going head to head 100 meters.
So
follow-up video.
Follow-up video. So that's coming out tomorrow. I will say this, like, so Chris, as Ryan, who's sitting over here too, of course, Ryan, the camera guy.
Ryan, the camera guy.
So like, as you and Ryan and Dolphin go through and edit this, like, you'll hear the commentary. Like, Chris's predictions were dead on. He had you nailed. The one area though where he and I were like, I think the most different in predicting all this was like, he was convinced that Zoe's kick, like if you guys ran a 300 and you didn't run it out of his legs early, Zoe, just that power, that speed that he had.
I'll tell you.
And I was like, I'm telling you, man, like, I think you're underrating Nick's speed. Like, yeah, he was an 800 guy, but like that is what he's known for, and he did it at a world-class level.
So here's what,
so that's why I think
this
the 100
is my area of expertise. There's no way. In a sit and kick race, I will burn it. I will burn him so hard because I can change gears faster.
I agree.
It doesn't. He has better top end speed, but he's carrying around. Imagine carrying around like an extra 50 pounds.
Right.
I don't have to carry that extra weight, and I can shift through my gears. And even if he is able to use his top end speed to catch up to me, I can get 2 or 3 steps on him just by going through my gears faster.
Yeah, I agree. In a certain case, you're obviously going to change into gears faster. I think that if you guys run a 400 and you let him run that first 300
just jog
in 60,
I still get him.
That's his best chance.
Yeah.
Right? If you push the pace, he's got no chance.
Yeah.
Because if you take it out of his
I'm
legs
lighter and I can carry it around the track faster.
But if you let him set the pace where he's still got it for that last 100, he's going to have a chance to get you versus...
I humbly disagree.
Well, and that's kind of the beauty of tomorrow, though.
That's his best chance.
Yeah, I agree. That is his best chance.
That's his best chance. Like if
the best thing is if like he's like, you're not allowed to pass me till the last 50. And I just sit on his shoulder.
I
then
think
it would be really close.
I think you'll win.
Yeah.
I still think you win, but I'm saying just like I thought today 40 was your best chance at beating, like, because you're not going to beat him at bench.
True.
He's not going to beat you if you set the pace.
If you come out and you decide you're running 58.
100 tomorrow, no one's setting pace, right?
We're just all no pace to set in 100.
Well, and that's why I'm so fascinated for tomorrow.
Prediction, it will be within a 1/10 of a second. Maybe within maybe within point
it'll be really close. Because I have a feeling Zoe's going to go to the well, and he's going to come tomorrow because he admitted he slept on you a little bit on that 40.
Yeah,
because he got out on you, which
he
we
said
thought
he relaxed until he saw me pull up even with him.
Right, and then he saw you pull up. He was like, "Oh crap, I gotta finish this race."
Yeah.
So I think he knows what to expect tomorrow. He's going to come game ready. So it's going to be exciting to see. I think tomorrow's going to be a lot closer than what I would have predicted earlier this morning in a 100.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, and I'm excited because I think that he can. Like we kept joking all throughout the video. Like, you think I got him in this one? We're like, no. I think tomorrow you can get him.
Especially the change of direction stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, like even just watching you get into your stance and how uncomfortable you are down there, right? It's like, all right, this is not his thing. He's not gonna, get comfortable doing this in one rep, right? Coach Natalie's in
Where is my area where I could improve the most, you think? If I was really training for this. If I was one of your athletes and you're like, we have to get him ready, he has so much untapped potential or room for improvement in this area.
Yeah. Which I do think I would agree with that statement. I think that you do.
Thank you, though.
Well,
she's the best coach because she's so positive.
Okay, I'm positive, but Craig knows me. I'm also real.
Yeah,
I really don't just like throw comments out. A few things. I think one, that anyone that's watched the NFL Combine for years knows that, or been a part of the process, knows that the drills are they're practiced for weeks and weeks, like 8 weeks at minimum.
Yeah.
And so just the pure rehearsal of it in itself
makes you better.
And there's just, there's no way that a few practice reps or some coaching cues in between can completely, I mean, again, your improvements were incredible today, but there's still so much more improvement that's, untapped potential.
One of the things Zoe said was it's almost like you guys are kind of hacking the events a little bit.
Yes.
Like, where can you steal a quarter second or a 100%?
Yeah,
that's what you do.
And then, I mean, you witnessed it or probably felt it. We witnessed it. Hip mobility and things like that, right?
So bad.
And so even if you understand and you've rehearsed the lean away from the line and the position that you need to get into for the 20-yard shuttle.
If you can't get down to that squat and that crouch, you're in trouble.
If your body simply can't get into that position, it becomes, almost an impossible task to execute at the highest level. So, I agree. There's a lot of
hip mobility seems like a good starting point.
For sure.
Hip mobility, and then just the rehearsal of it. And you guys touched on it. The understanding the drills, almost like a hack, and understanding with the 3 cone, really where you're going to gain, where you're going to shave time off.
Yeah.
Like the figure 8 is, a fairly fixed pattern. And you can bubble up and
cut
really
the
kick
cone
it
and lean,
a little bit.
right.
But it's those getting down the steps in the starting with your right foot forward.
Yeah, I think most of the time comes in those first
exactly.
couple steps.
And executing, and it just almost becomes like second nature to these guys.
It is. It's a choreography.
Yeah,
actually, because
it's such a good way to say it.
It's like the combine is its own sport because it is a rehearsal of choreography.
Correct.
Once you know the steps, you just practice the steps just like any other dance. So I feel like once you get good at that, you're going to improve, and you already improved. Like, that's how we know we're working with a world-class athlete. How quickly can they adapt?
How
quickly can they learn?
From rep 1 to rep 2 with a little coaching?
I mean, there was one on that 3 cone, you went from 4.91 to 4.56. That's a big huge. That's a big drop. And like, we didn't improve your hip mobility.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
You know what I mean? But man, if you were able to improve your hip mobility and get in and out of your turns quicker, you know
what's funny is I always say, like, Olympic runner does this, and everyone kind of says, well, like, you're a has-been. Like, that was 10 years ago. You were at your prime. But one, it's a great clickbait, but it's also it's also like me telling my audience that I've been on this journey of fitness for so long.
Right.
I'm a way better athlete today than I was 10 years ago in my prime as a runner.
Right.
I could run the hell out of an 800 and the heck out of a mile. But like, I couldn't bench 225 10 years ago in my prime. I couldn't do those drills. I would be literally 100% injured trying those drills back then. And I've worked really hard since retiring. You know, we're talking about Zoe's how hard he works. I've really worked hard to try to become a better overall athlete, introducing things like CrossFit and Olympic lifting, and introducing things like powerlifting and cycling. And I want to be good at a lot of things, not great at any one thing.
The Train with the Best podcast is brought to you by Momentous and the brand new collagen shot, a truly one-of-a-kind product that you are not going to find anything like anywhere else on the entire supplement market / anywhere in the whole wide world. It is type 1 and type 3 collagens mixed with some vitamin C in a gel-like substance in these little packets that make it so convenient. And the convenience factor is hard to overstate because most of us that supplement with collagen do it in the morning with our coffee, which is hard in multiple ways. As stated in a previous ad, my coffee is grab and go. So I go from grab and go to missing my window to have collagen unless I take the time to put it through a blender. So the collagen shot takes away that problem. I don't have to pick. I can now just take my collagen shot with me and know that I'm not going to miss my window. Additionally, if you want to more than double your collagen synthesis, you have about a 60-minute window prior to when you're working out that you'd actually want to take that collagen in. So unless you're a morning coffee followed by morning workout person, that timeline's not going to match up. Now, you work out at 2 in the afternoon, about 1 o'clock, pop 2 collagen shots, bang, there you are. It is amazing. The convenience matters in terms of the performance, and if you add collagen supplementation to your daily routine, it will make a huge difference in your longevity when it comes to your health and fitness. So go get some right now. Add it to your subscription order at livemomentous.com and use the code TRAINWITHTHEBEST25. It's 25% off your first order, 15% off all of the refills. That's TRAINWITHTHEBEST25 at livemomentous.com.
Since this is a fitness podcast, one of the things that you walked in here and you did the tally of all the events that you did today, and it was less than a minute.
Yeah.
And you can feel how sore you are. Yeah. And that just goes to show, like, for the people who are out there with fitness, like, you don't need to work out for 2 hours a day. Like, if you do the right things with the right intensity. I think it's a mistake to do that.
Like, I know a lot of ex-runners, and we call them slow, steady miles.
Yep.
And they'll go out and run an hour, and they're like, they carry on a little extra weight, and they don't look super lean. And they're like, I don't get it. I'm running all these miles. It's like, but you can't get away with that when you get kind of later on in life, like 38. You need HIIT training, high intensity training.
Yep.
You need, if you're like Orange Theory, the orange zone. Everyone calls it something different. HIIT, Orange Theory, high intensity interval training, but you have to be pushing yourself into that uncomfortable zone.
Right.
And I think one of the things I like to do on my channel is inspire people to push themselves a little bit.
Yeah. I think maybe some inspiration for some mobility training.
That's literally, I'll be honest, like
durability.
Yeah. So I hate stretching. I hate mobility, but as I'm starting to like get more into CrossFit or more into powerlifting or more into like all of these different areas, everyone says the same thing. If you don't get mobility, you'll never be able to progress past a certain point.
Like, all jokes aside, though, I think that's actually a really important thing is you like embark on this to put the trainer hat on, and obviously I'm not putting the microphone podcast host down here, but like if you want to do your best, because it's the same coin on two sides. It's both safety but also efficacy. Your mobility increasing will help your powerlifting and will also help you not get hurt while powerlifting. And like, I think that's the thing that I found even as I've gone into this training career over the last 6.5 years of doing this is like, I'm amazed how often safety and efficacy
go hand in hand.
go hand in hand. The exact same fix, the exact same solution to a problem is both going to make you better and also help keep you safe.
Yeah. But then you have to stretch a lot, which sucks.
Matt, have you found a good way to like gamify stretching for him that we can? You're just like, no, man, you just got to.
Like, I've
be
been in
adult.
yoga classes. I've done Pilates classes. Right. I believe like to literally, this is what I need. So if anyone out there can like DM me where I can find this, like. If there's a class, like a yoga class for like 80-year-old people, where like you have like people helping you.
You're trying to find your next like contestant for.
Yes, that's literally what I need. Because if I go to a regular yoga class, I can't even get into a downward dog. Right. I need yoga for geriatrics.
Okay, I mean, honestly, that was what the reformers. That was what the reformer was originally made for. Was to help people get into the. Now, reformer has become a different thing where now it's being used to insanely challenge people, but that was what the reformer was. Is like, hey, if you were on a hospital bed, that's why it looks like a hospital bed.
So
can you do some of these Pilates exercises and get into these? So the reformer machine was meant to help aid you into some of those positions.
Interesting.
It's used differently now, just like recovery pumps were made for people with compartment syndrome, and now they're used for recovery, right?
Yeah.
So it is interesting. And you know what? With Zoe, look, when I first met Zoe back in 2011 and we started training, what am I going to do? Am I going to take somebody that squats 600 pounds and make him squat 650 pounds? No. But what we did was we worked on mobility and efficacy of his movement, and now he is where he is today.
Yeah. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I give him at least some inspiring words. Maybe he'll think of you when he's not stretching.
Exactly. Coach Nat is going to yell at me when she sees me next time.
Nat's going to kill me if I don't.
Yeah. I don't know if there's necessarily a way to make a downward dog or yoga more enjoyable, but I think it's like anything that when you start to see improvements in it.
That's what it is, yeah.
Right? It's like, it's almost
addicting.
Yeah, the first couple weeks are like, man, I can't get into the positions. I can't feel, any change, but sticking with it, it would be like bouncing around from training programs, right? You're not going to get much stronger. You're not going to get much faster and so on. Yoga and mobility and things like that. And I'm guilty of this as well. So I'm really talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you.
We had a great 5-minute mini-band warm-up this morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. But I think that it's sticking with it and being able to see the changes. And it's not necessarily the most exciting part of it, but as Craig mentioned, it's like you feel it feed right into becoming a better power lifter, becoming a better pro agility.
I got into CrossFit not because I wanted to compete, but because I felt better throughout the day. Like like the aches and pains that I had from running started to go away.
Yes.
And now I can feel aches and pains creeping in just from lack of mobility. And I think fighting pain is probably going to be the motivation I need to pursue mobility.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that some of the most effective mobility is to do strength training exercises at deficit ranges or full ranges at light weights, right? So like one of the things that I like to do if I really want to open my body is drop into an overhead snatch with light weight.
I can't do it. I physically can't snatch. Like with a PVC pipe, I can't get into the position.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to be able to do it with a PVC pipe because it's too light. You're actually going to need a little bit of weight to
kind of force you down.
It's going to force you down there. Yeah. Now, it's going to take you like 10 minutes, but I promise you after
time under tension.
Yeah. If you do it for
I want to be able to
minutes,
snatch so bad. It's the prettiest lift. And
I
just can't do it.
It's so pretty. But I promise you, if you stick with it for like 30 minutes, Nick, you're going to drop down there and you're going to be like, holy
Feels
crap.
good just holding it there.
I can't believe I'm down here. And then like you're going to walk around and be like, wow, I'm pretty mobile right now.
Yeah.
Right? But even beyond that, like you could do deficit RDL, deficit push-ups, and all things like that. Like those are probably the ways that somebody like you are going to sneak in these mobility exercises without having to
not even know I'm getting mobility.
Right.
I was going to say too, like static stretching has a place, but doing mobility drills like cars, like controlled articulated rotation, doing those hip circles and things like that in some level mimic some of the stuff that you probably do in your track warm up, like the hip openers and things like that.
On a hurdle mobility.
Right.
Yeah,
like that stuff is great. I mean, whether it's, just like up and over the hurdle or like the duck under, like all that stuff is still mobility. It's not yoga.
It's more fun moving around and being dynamic.
Totally. Exactly. And then you add that bit of load and like there's kind of phases of it. But I think that like that's definitely how I get mine in. I'm not sitting unless like I'm at the end of a workout and at that point I'm just exhausted and then sure, I'll hold a pigeon stretch for a minute, but that's because I'm tired. Not because I'm actually doing mobility.
I'm holding a pigeon stretch because I'm calling out mercy from Natalie's like finisher with Versa Climber. I'm like, pigeon stretch time.
See, if you do more mobility at the beginning, you have less time for sleds and Versa climbers and things like that.
Right.
The Train with the Best podcast is brought to you by Jaku. Jaku, they've got the need for speed. I just got a nice package from Jaku. We got to meet John, the founder and creator of Jaku, out in Arizona, and then we officially signed on with them, and he's like, I got too much stuff to send back with you on the plane, bro. I'm going to have to give you a package. And I just got it. And not only do they have their amazing world-class timing device that brings the accessibility of laser timing, that kind of pinpoint accuracy down to the 100th of the second to anyone. It's only $200, and that's before our discount. They've got speed ladders, they've got speed chutes, they've got massage guns that'll help you feel better so that you can perform at your best. No matter what you're getting from Jaku, you should go to jaku.com/discount/TWTB, as in train with the best. That's jaku.com/discount/TWTB, and it's all 20% off. That's any order. So if you forget something, go back and get some more. Get the cones. That way you can set up your 5-10-5 drill and have the phone sitting exactly where you need it. Because the Jaku's cones, even, they're specially designed to hold your phone so that you can use the Jaku timing device. It's brilliant. They've thought of everything. Again, that's jaku.com/discount/TWTB. And by the way, if you want to see the Jaku device in action, check it out in the 100-meter video with Zoe and Nick. We use Jaku to time it out. You'll be able to see it. That's live Thursday, March 4th on Nick's YouTube channel.
To go back to like the actual event of the day, that was a very beneficial, very good fitness podcast sidebar. However, like when you started working with him, like the moldability of the clay, were you like, okay, this is good? Like how quickly did you realize like I'm going to be able to
very coachable.
I have some coaches that would disagree with you on that one, but I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
I have a small sample size. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coachable for sure. I mean, we saw the improvements from first rep to second rep. Yeah, I mean, even vertical jump, like
we got a half an inch out of that one.
You can only jump so high, with your current strength and power levels and all that. But technique-wise, rep 1 to rep 2 was way better. Same with broad jump.
And it carried over to broad jump.
Yeah, and it carried over to broad jump.
And all the events where technique mattered more, you definitely saw a lot more improvement.
I couldn't agree more.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot.
There's not much you can eke out in vertical jump and not much you can eke out in the 40.
Definitely not.
Although getting you facing the right direction on the Vertec was a positive first step.
Just turning your face the right way.
Oh my gosh.
Brian, please put some of that in the video.
Is this like an approach jump like volleyball?
I was like, what is he doing? Is he for real?
Yeah. We might need to get some slow-mos of like the angle on the Vertec.
Around aimlessly.
Does he know that he's trying to touch this? Or
Exactly.
So that was fun.
I will say from like the most impressive thing for me from Zoe's performance, I can't believe he jumped 32 and a half.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah, for sure. He did cheat the reach a little bit.
In his prime, how much could he jump?
Probably right around there.
Yeah.
Probably right around
I think
there.
he said he jumped 20. I mean, again, it was 300 pounds at the time, but he jumped like 29 when he was coming out. So a 38-year-old with a 32 and a half inch vert is
that's not
like, is wild.
Anything over 30 is respectable.
Yeah, like there are plenty of linebackers. There are wide receivers and DBs that won't jump 32 and a half.
Yeah.
So.
And you got to 24. Yeah.
23
and a half.
Yeah.
That was my prediction was 24.
Dang, man, I appreciate that.
Should have gone to Vegas with all of your predictions.
I was actually really like for the first few events, I was hitting it right on the dot with you, right? Like I think we had a 4.71 on the 20-yard. I called a 7.6, and you got 7.5 on the broad jump. We were really close on our predictions.
I mean, Nick told me he was going to jump 12 inches, and I was like, oh my gosh, we might have to like call it a day.
Step one, confidence.
Yeah, so when 23 came out, I was like,
I just think it's a small miracle I didn't injure myself. Like, I mean, I'm sore, but I'm not injured.
Are you sure that you didn't?
No, I have no idea. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. But like I know what a torn hammy feels like, and I think they're still there.
Yeah, they're there.
But I mean, sometimes in these videos, I'm gonna full send it because I want to make a good video, and I've torn a hammy in a video before.
Wow.
Racing high school kids out on the East Coast, and I will go to the well to make it a good video. And I was really worried that I was going to injure myself today. So I'm just,
Yeah, that change of direction stuff is a whole new world.
Whole different
dynamic.
Used to it, yeah. That explosive shiftiness. And I have a whole new appreciation watching
football. But you know what? Now you can go out and run 20-yard shuttles instead of having to run 200s.
I absolutely will do that.
Right?
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah.
We're just going to get a video from Nick of him lying on the ground. SOS.
There's a running joke on our channel because we try some crazy stuff, and I always yell at Ryan, "This was a horrible idea for a video." I didn't say that today, so it was a great video, and I want to thank you guys for helping set this up. And thanks to EXOS, thanks to Coach Natalie.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
an awesome video. Thank you everyone who watched it and liked it and hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, it was so much fun for us. Appreciate you,
My pleasure, man.
Including us, and hopefully there's opportunities to do more. We know we have at least one more tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
100, assuming that Nick and Zoe don't wake up going, actually, I did do some damage yesterday.
I can't wait to hear the commentary.
Yeah, the torn ham is going to happen tomorrow.
No, we're not putting that into the universe.
Wood in this Airbnb. Yeah, no, we're excited to do that. So make sure you subscribe to Nick's channel so you can check out that video when it drops. If you're one of Nick's fans or subscribers that's listening to us, we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast. Also, Nat, make sure you're following her not only on Instagram at Natalie Kollars, but make sure you're following her food blog as well. Chef Nat's Kitchen. I make stuff all the time from.
You guys really do.
Yeah, like my fiance will send Natalie a message, be like, Craig is making the cranberry orange muffins right now. The Super Bowl is about to start. He's making muffins. That's a real DM that she got. I needed some snacks for the week, man.
Her Instagram posts are really well edited. Is that you?
Wow, it is.
Yeah, it's really well done.
I appreciate
She's
you guys.
fantastic. So make sure you're following Nat. And we'll see you guys here next week on the pod, and also on YouTube soon. So that's exciting too. And thanks, everybody.